Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Gypsy Rose, and why maybe we shouldn't really be talking about her all that much right now. Welcome back. My name's Kalela, and I have opinions about things. A number of years ago, I heard that this had happened, and I learned a little bit about her story and her upbringing. If you know, it's chilling, and it's a lot for anyone to have to go through. The point I'm trying to make here is that I shouldn't be sitting here talking about what I think about Gypsy Rose and her mother and their relationship. There's a lot of stuff about it that, for some people who have been through similar situations, is very triggering. This is a situation that I think needs a lot more awareness brought to it. And another thing that I think is true is that we should not be idolizing and celebritizing for a lot of reasons. It's like a pendulum. I've seen the internet swing from she can do no wrong. We take the pendulum down over here. Oh, people are saying she could have gotten up and walked out of the wheelchair at any time. She's a master manipulator. Isn't there a thing in like some kids film about dealing in absolutes? The way that I view the situation is that it's way over publicized, I guess. She came out of prison. She went to go buy shoes. I saw a video of that. Why could I see that in Canada? Somebody who lived a life of isolation and mistreatment. It's a very impossible situation to get out of, and it's hard to understand that if you haven't been in it. But let's just all remember this while we're judging Gypsy for not getting up out of the wheelchair in the doctor's office. Do you think there wouldn't have been consequences for that? What do you think would have happened to her if she would have stood up for herself at any given time? Did she know that she had to stand up for herself? Because I think I need something to do with my hands. When children have a caregiver tell them something and assure them this is for your own good, I do this with your best interests at heart, la la la, we all know the script, we've all heard it. Didn't Mother Gothel have a whole song about mother knowing best and stuff? Wasn't she locking someone in a tower? I digress. None of us were there. None of us know what she endured or didn't endure. So I think it's up to us to sit back and not be speculating and not be throwing shade. There's a lot of moral superiority. Everybody that I've seen talk about this knows so much more about right and wrong than everybody else. And I think maybe we should hold space for the fact that if you've never lived a life quite like that, it's okay to admit you don't know what you would do in that situation. And you maybe don't understand just how much faith and trust and pixie dust children put into their caregivers. If it's all you've ever known, you're not gonna know that something's wrong. And I think that's hard for a lot of people to wrap their minds around, because not a lot of people who are talking about this have been in the situation. So it's easy to know exactly what you would have done and point fingers and think, by today's standards, I am a person who has been out and living my life and know socially what is acceptable, and I had an upbringing and parentage. Listen, I'm just gonna interrupt my own snotty aside there and let you know that to have been parented is a privilege denied to many. And so if you received parenting, that's great. That's not what was happening to Gypsy Rose. She was receiving abuse. Also, I'm getting really passionate about this. She's been in prison for 8 years, I think. And before that, are you gonna try to tell me that she was free before she was arrested? The reason why she and her boyfriend at the time did what they did was because she saw it as her only means of escape. I'm not saying that's right. I'm saying that's what happened. And nobody knows what they would do in that situation unless they have been in that situation. Childhood trauma, Munchausen's by proxy. Because yeah, that's a thing that happens to more people than just Gypsy Rose. And I hope that more awareness will be spread about that than just look at this celebrity. She had a rough upbringing and now look at her overcoming. Maybe I can do the same thing. There's a lot of inspiration porn behind a lot of this, and it's a big video for a big other time, and I'm not ever going to talk about it again, because the whole point is that we need to shut the fuck up about Gypsy Rose, regardless of our own opinions, because if you don't know, you don't know. And it's okay to be out of touch, but I've seen a lot of people who are just so out of touch, they reach back around and they're grabbing it. I don't know what I'm trying to say. There's a lot to be said about her boyfriend. He is still in prison, and to my knowledge, will be for the rest of his life. A lot to be said about that I don't think we should be saying right now. Does that make sense? I guess what I'm saying is, please hold, I can't do two things at once. A lot of people are saying that she manipulated her boyfriend, who is on the autism spectrum to my knowledge, and all of this stuff that makes him easy to manipulate. And I'm not saying anything else about that. Do I think that her boyfriend should be locked up forever for what he did? I truly don't think he understood the magnitude of what he did, and I'm not sure if she did either. And guess what? If she did or she didn't, or he did or he didn't, it is not for us to decide. If there's one thing I know, it's that justice will take its time because it's working its way through a broken system. I think the whole thing is devastating and should not have happened. Dee Dee, her mom, she did the things that she did to her daughter, and had she not been stopped, I do believe it would have gone to a point that Gypsy Rose would not have come back from. Munchausen by proxy, man. Multiple mental illnesses and flawed systems allowed for it to happen, and it's scary that it can happen, but it can. I don't think anyone coming out of the situation needs to be a celebrity. I think there's a lot of healing and growing that should probably happen, and hopefully some awareness and giving back type of scenario comes of this, where people start to speak up and children stuck in these situations and being isolated by their parents and medically abused, etc., etc. I would really hope that we can talk about that and try to figure out ways to support people who have been through that or who are currently going through that without deciding if we're on Team Gypsy or Team Nick. Does that make sense? I'm an asshole for even talking about this, period, having the audacity to have an opinion on it at all. I think if you find yourself with a strong opinion on what happened in her past and how she is proceeding into her future, it couldn't hurt to keep that to yourself for a little while until the dust settles. I don't have any hair ties and I'm making life miserable for myself. I think until the dust settles a little bit, we need to just chill. We need to stop watching what she's saying and doing on the internet and holding it at face value, because guess what? It takes a long time to adjust. Years after being in a situation like she was at home, reintegrating herself into society after being in prison when she was never a traditional part of traditional society to begin with. That is so much work, and all I'm asking is that maybe we offer some grace in this situation and yes, hold her accountable to her actions, but also remember that, is it really my place to be talking about whether what happened was right or wrong and what I think about it, or is it virtue signaling? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to be kind to yourself and others today, and I'm gonna get the heck out of here because my hands are sweating. I'll be back soon. Bye.